You understand where I'm at with this
I actually don't.
Okay, let me say.
And here's where let me tell you about yesterday. Because when we did the crossover with Willard, he was kind of talking about, I think, what you're going to get into about. He feels like
he said. I heard.
I don't know.
He said he got called a racist over the weekend. I didn't like that. I wanted to text him. He got called a
racist?
Yeah, like damn. But there are some takes that he has that I'll bring up to him to where maybe I can help him see how somebody might think that.
An education sensation?
No, it's not an education. Well, I guess. Yeah, I'm chocolate.
You're going to pull out?
No, it's.
Are you going to?
All right, you asked me. I'm going here quick. How can a player, forget his name, how can a said player go from a starting quarterback last year, forget how he got there? Well, the coaches.
Go ahead.
Okay, the coach gave him the keys to the Rari.
Not really. Gave him
and
one key.
And now people are on the microphone writing columns, Mike Silver, alluding or subliminally sending the message that he may not be on the roster before week 1. So my question, and all I've been consistent with is, and you know I'm not perfect, Steiny, how that's not upon us, but how can that be? How can you go from starter, injured, to off the team? Like, and Kyle's giving him kudos every time he talks about him. So, Steiny, help me find out what I'm missing, that gap. I need closure. Help me find and piece that fit. Or am I tripping or giving too much energy to something that has not happened? I believe Trey Lance will be on this roster week 1 in Pittsburgh. Like, make it make sense. How you can go from starter, break your ankle.
He wasn't really a starter. That's why.
That's like saying you weren't really president. What do you mean he wasn't a starter? He was. He was named starter.
He was named starter because at that point Purdy hadn't taken any reps because he just came in as the third string. And Garoppolo had been acquired late. And I do think that's what the meeting with the team was all about last year.
You did call that out.
Kyle Shanahan got the team together, the veterans, and said, look, I think he said, we're going to start the season with Trey Lance. We know he's got a lot of room for growth. We know he's got a long way to go. That's why we're not sure it's going to work. That's why we brought back Jimmy Garoppolo, but we want to give this kid a chance. The way I look at it is they gave Trey Lance a chance last year. And
it was a short chance because he got hurt.
Right, he got hurt.
Okay.
And now Brock Purdy just took the job from him. You know what? And by the way, that's a crock of bull that you can't lose your job because of injury. Yes, you can.
Yeah, and we see it all the time.
Yes, you can. Of course you can. I mean,
I'm not talking about the job, Steiny, the starting job. I understand Brock Purdy's resume. I cannot even question it. This is about staying on the roster. That's where it gets offensive.
Why is it offensive? They have 4 quarterbacks, and what if Trey Lance is the 4th best quarterback?
I'm asking you, do you believe that?
Maybe. I don't know. I think Purdy's better than Trey Lance.
I'll give you that.
Okay. Well, I don't know after that.
And either do I.
Okay.
Now, I do question. I'm going to say something.
So they're fighting out for 2, 3, 4.
They had, in my world, Matt, and I'm calling you Matt because I mean this. In my world, if I thought highly of Trey Lance or thought, even if it's going slow, pedestrian, the slow lane, he still would be my number 2 because he was my number 1 last year.
Even if he's not as good as those other guys.
He's mine. I drafted him. And I've yet to see him get enough reps in real live game situations for me to throw him away. And that's why I think a lot of people are fighting on Twitter because it's like some are already like, Kyle's got his decision made. They've seen something. And that's why I'm like, that could very well pop off. But I heard Kyle the other day, he said he liked where Trey was at. And there's going to be some good practices and bad practices for all of them. Now, the Allen situation, I believe that's a byproduct of what happened in Philly. They will never not have enough quarterbacks. So I'm not going to pull my hair out on that. But I respect Mike Silver to the utmost, Steiny. But when you read his columns, he has it to where, and he's in the know more than I am, to where there's a scenario out there to where Trey Lance could be off of this team and not step foot or show us what he is
Possible.
after coming back from the ankle injury.
It's possible. It's possible. How much of a chance did James Wiseman get after he got hurt and missed the entire championship year?
Now, Steiny, I know I always fight you on that one. I feel like Wiseman had way more. We saw him way more than what
Not
Trey's
after the rookie
getting.
year. After his rookie year, after he started,
But he got
didn't
hurt
play
again.
much.
You're right. He got hurt
So did
again.
Trey. Trey got hurt.
So let me ask you this. I'm going to put the rat on the table early.
Can I ask a question? This is
Go
the thing
ahead.
I
We
don't
got
understand.
4 hours.
Today I'm listening to Dave Fleming, who is a Giants announcer,
The
but
man.
he knows all sports.
Yeah.
And Bonte threw it at him. What do you think about the 49ers quarterbacks?
I missed that.
And
What did he say?
He said kind of what I'm thinking is, yeah, I don't get it. Not I don't get the situation. I don't get what everybody's pulling their hair out about. Brock Purdy's the number one quarterback.
That I got you,
Okay,
sir.
there's 3 guys battling for 2. And Trey Lance isn't good enough to claim it. He's not good enough to claim it. And Kyle Shanahan, good for him, ain't going to hand it to him if he didn't earn it. Like,
So he didn't earn it. You're going to stay on that
disagree.
premise. Last year he didn't earn it. He just was giving him the job.
I don't want to say he
Like that
didn't earn
has
it.
to mean something. And if I were running a team and I saw this kid that I moved some mountains to get,
Who would-
Steiny, that means something. You're not going to battle 2 dudes. One that already quarterback with Brock Purdy in Carolina, and it was a disaster.
When was Garoppolo reacquired? Last year.
After it was crickets, and we thought after the.
Right. So why did they go get Garoppolo?
I believe because he was available.
I believe because they were worried about Trey Lance.
Not getting
So
hurt.
they
You're
get
saying just the
Garoppolo.
performance. Hold on,
Yeah,
Stein.
the
You were worried
performance.
about the performance.
And then we saw how Kyle Shanahan used him, and he wasn't very confident in Trey Lance. I think they got Garoppolo late. They got him back. They re-signed him late. He was behind because Trey Lance, by that point, had been taking all the first-string things, the first-string reps.
Wow.
And so
I got something for you.
Kyle Shanahan said, look, we need another quarterback in here than Trey Lance, somebody who hasn't played. We'll bring Garoppolo back. Now, Garoppolo's behind because he was hurt and he didn't play in training camp. So you know what? Hey, 49ers, come over here. Look, we got Jimmy back because we're not really sure of Trey. He's young. We want to give him some support. Okay, but listen, because Jimmy's behind, that's all it was. Jimmy's behind. Lance didn't beat out Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't play in the summer.
But
he didn't throw.
His time
He was given
over,
the job.
Steiny.
He was, right.
Yeah, because they wanted to see. Let's go with the new.
Right, but they
so
knew
they
the
told
new guy.
Jimmy bye-bye, and
See, this is what I don't think's
Like,
hard. I don't get what's difficult to understand.
telling
they needed insurance for Trey Lance after they saw him all summer and into training camp.
All right, so you're adding that. Okay,
So and
you're
here's the other
saying, but
thing.
almost
So they were
like
going to go into camp with
No.
Trey Lance and Purdy, who's Sudfeld?
yeah. Well, Steiny, I think you're selling Jimmy short. They thought Jimmy was going to be swooped up with the quickness. So
I disagree with that.
That's how I look at it. They thought Jimmy was going to be gone, and they almost wanted him gone because it was time to turn the page and see what we have with Trey Lance.
They couldn't keep Trey Lance, 0 attempts. Brock Purdy, 0 attempts as a quarterback. And Nate Sudfeld, I don't know, 3 games?
But Steiny, listen,
You can't keep 3 quarterbacks.
But they were going to do it had Jimmy got swooped up.
He wasn't going to get swooped up. He just wasn't. And I think they knew it.
So I got to give credit to Evan Giddings.
What
and
do
he
you
held
want?
it down
You
yesterday. I'm
want him-
about to tell you. He's been in these.
Thank you.
He's
Turn
been in
the page.
He's been in the ruckus at these press conferences. I've heard Evan ask questions. Dickinson, Sterling, Sam Lubman. You know what, Steiny? If I were, and I love my Bay Area media, tell me if I would get thrown out or lose my credential if I asked Kyle, hey, Kyle, do you regret drafting Trey?
He'd say no. It's not that hard. No, we don't. Why would we?
But then why are writers, where are they getting this info from?
What
Almost
info are you talking
to where
about?
this guy is almost off the team, like his spot is in jeopardy. That info.
Have you observed? It's not about what anybody's saying. It's about what they're doing. Brock Purdy has been named the number 1 quarterback. Plain and simple.
I gave you that dub.
They
I
brought in
understand that.
Sam-
We're talking about after that, Matt.
Right.
Why are you sharing reps with Allen? And I don't think a lot of people are saying it's because of the Philly game.
Together.
No, that's my 2 and 2. Y'all getting 5 and 6, and it's weird. Why does the fact that Allen is here, why is that a blemish on Trey Lance? Why can't it just be we had no quarterbacks in Philly?
Okay.
So just because you observe something, Steiny, don't mean it's fact.
No,
and
but
Mike Silver the same thing.
Actions.
So if I ask Kyle Shanahan that question, why would he, if it's real, say it to us then? And nobody's fighting. There's no Hatfields and McCoys. Say what it is. But every time he talks, he's talking glaring of Trey Lance.
That's right.
So what?
He talks glowing about all 4 of the quarterbacks.
But really, and I'm asking
Jimmy
you,
Garoppolo
so really you're saying
year,
he ain't telling the truth about how he feels about Trey Lance?
Maybe he is telling the truth about Trey Lance, but Trey Lance isn't ready to start yet.
I didn't say start, Matt. We're talking about now a roster spot.
Okay.
I give you I understand Purdy starting, guys.
Wow.
I'm talking about remaining on the roster.
We'll try again. Jimmy Garoppolo was under contract last year, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. They made, I don't care what anybody says, they made no attempt to trade Jimmy Garoppolo. They asked way too much for Jimmy Garoppolo. That's why there was no market for him. 0. But that's what they wanted, I think. They wanted Garoppolo out there without a team because then they could say, you know what? Let's bring Jimmy back. Why? Because we don't have anybody on the roster who's thrown a pass in the NFL yet. So what do you say we get Jimmy Garoppolo in here as insurance? We'll start Trey. We'll give the kid a chance. We'll start him. They start him. He gets hurt. Garoppolo comes in. He wins. Purdy then comes in. He wins. And guess what? Over the course of a season, it becomes apparent that Brock Purdy is better than Trey Lance, or at least that's what Kyle Shanahan believes, that Purdy is better than Trey Lance.
I'll
now,
follow you.
We must go further. And what is further is, okay, well, Trey can be a good backup. Well, apparently, Kyle Shanahan, not through anything he said, but through what he's done, has said, I'm a little uncomfortable having Trey Lance just given the number 2. Let's bring Sam Darnold in here. Okay? Now they bring Sam Darnold in here. Why? To compete with Trey Lance. You might not like that, but that says, you don't have to say it, that says what Kyle thinks of Trey Lance as a quarterback, that he wants him to compete with a guy like Sam Darnold. Then throw in last year's disaster at quarterback. You know what? Let's get a 4th in here just to have him because we don't want to go through what happened last year. Like, I don't understand the puzzlement of what we're seeing. He doesn't right now have
trust.
Obviously.
Well, yeah. You laid that out. I just don't believe
honestly,
the Jimmy part of that.
What do you mean?
I thought that, Steiny, that when Jimmy was like, it's been fun, it's been good.
Right.
I don't think the Niners
was
luck
still
was
under
that
contract.
good. Even though I don't feel they were asking too much. I really believe they thought Jimmy was going.
I think they were probably asking.
We want 2 seconds. People found out Jimmy's had a bum, a shoulder, arm. That hurt him and his market value. And they saw a fact. Why would we give up when this dude don't have a team? We thought he would be swooped up and we can get him for much of nothing and he'll come back after we kicked him to the curve. It wasn't like wink, wink, Jimmy, we'll ask for too much and then we could get you back and we'll get credit for making it look like we tried to say bye to you. And I just wish, I guess, you know what, Steiny? You're going to feel the way you feel and I'm going to feel the way I feel. But the bottom line is, I'm conceding to the fact that Brock Purdy's better than Trey Lance. There's no arguing that. I got you,
and
partner.
you want to give the backup position to Trey because he was picked high 3 years ago, and Kyle Shanahan is basically saying that's not the way it works. That's the other thing. The same guy who moved up to get Trey Lance is actually the guy saying, I can't just give him the job.